Hi, and welcome into the iGPFun League F3 series. We are here today at the Red Bull Ring. It's going to be a great race. I am your host, Charles Boschel, along with Samuli Kumo, who will be assisting me in the broadcast duties as well as running production. Samuli, welcome in, and looking forward to a good race today. I love Red Bull Ring, especially with open wheel cars.
Yeah, thanks, Charles. It's been a while since I've actually been report, and yeah, it's a shame that Austin had to bail out due to he fell ill, so I will be filling in, but during the duel also I will try to mainly focus on the cameras. But yeah, it's looking a really good race. We got a full grid, and I mean Red Bull Ring, it usually quite very good racing, so yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 57 cars on the grid today. It's about as full as you can get in iRacing, and yeah, we do hope Austin feels better. He soldiered on in the Spec Racer race that we did previous to this, and just almost made it to the bitter end, but not quite. So we hope that he returns next week all nice and healthy. As we see qualifying ending, the final cars are making their last turns around to the start-finish straight. Looks like everything. Still got Steven Ritter's on track.
Yeah, I think right now we only have Ridders and Tausman.
Last little bit. Yeah, absolutely.
And as they make their way through, yeah, Tausman here, but I don't think he is currently on a hot lap really. Just bring it in. Yeah.
Just bringing it in. Yep. All right. So we'll once we get the rest of the cars on track, we can set the grid, give you the starting lineup for the race. As always, as you see, the iRaceTalisma.ca, the man that is basically runs all the analytics for the league. So you can go back many years, see anybody and everybody who participated in this event. It's a pretty interesting little website.
Yeah, it's a very long-standing league, so there's a lot of management, a lot of history there.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of history. I think they said 20 years over 2 different services. So probably one of the longest that are in the sim racing world.
Yeah. Now let's go into the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to the grid. And we got Gianfranco Pagotto on pole, 123.449. Simon Fessy in P2. Max Bartolotta and Jesper Sandstrom on the second row. Victor Barris and Francesco Fioroni in P5 and 6. Theo Bergeson, Tony Jimenez, Will McIntyre-Jones, Andy Flint round out your top 10. We have Lee Aberdeen and Kenzie Neuhoff in P11 and 12. Julio Palacio and Lucas Marouk in 13th and 14th. Pedro Soares in 15th. Evan Way in 16th. Gavin Petty, Adam Talsma, the before mentioned. Gilles Janney and Alistair Hay round out your top 20. Following down the grid, we've got Romanelli and Atkins, Ridgeway and Waller. Leo Long, Stephen Ritters, Ryan Berry, Christian Glamsetter, Richard Van Veen, and Clark Williams in top 30. Marcelo Kessler, Zoltan Zomotor, Double Z in P32. Chuck Morrow, Kuji Ito in P34. Bingo Yet in 35th. Reed Dennis in 36th. Edward J. Amos in 37th. Philip Lucas, Reno Scatini, Marcus Putinex in P40. And Gaten Imhoff in 41st. Merrick's Ortlovs in 42nd. Puteklis, Uldis Puteklis, Stu Milne, Paolo Brimi.
Lights are coming up, so we will need to jump.
Yep. So we'll finish off the grid here in just a minute as we get ready to start the race. So now I knew why Austin has to take deep breaths as we get rolling here. And Pagodo takes the early lead as everybody settles in. I'm pretty sure that there is a hold. Looks like they're starting racing after turn 1. So now we're full chat at this point.
Yeah, there normally is a hold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there normally is a hold, and not sure what it was. Definitely looks like it's after turn 1 though. As we see, car wide. That is Fessy on the outside. That looks like that might be a little bit of a slowdown. Track limits are very tight here. Lots of curbing on the outside of the track. Have to be very careful because not only will it cause you to spin, it will also damage your car if you don't treat them right. As we see Bartolota moving up to P2, Fessy drops down to P3. Pagoda with an early advantage, about 5 car lengths out front. You see a little wide there by one of the cars in the back. It was like it was either Barris or Bergeson.
Yeah, that
looks like a pretty good start. Haven't seen anybody dropping down the grid.
Yep, I was just about to say that I don't think we have any major incidents. We had 3 non-starters that Koji Aito, Francisco Fiorani and Gillesgiani that did not take the start, but otherwise it has been relatively clean, I believe.
Yeah, which is what you expect for the IGP League because they do kind of monitor the starts of the race, let everybody get a chance to get rolling. Oh, as we see a spin in the background, that is Julio Palacio. Little bang into the wall on the inside and then drives into the wall in. That looks like, based on the fact that he was still spinning like that, that might be a hardware malfunction. So we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that because it just looked like the car was just full chat, even though he was kind of slamming into the wall there and just damaging his car. So kind of check in on him later. But he did tow, and I do see looking at timing the score that Potapenko's also out on pit out, so he had to pit early, so must have gotten into a little trouble with one of the other cars. We did kind of stop off around P40 as we see those spin. That's Double Z, Zoltan Zomotor.
Oh, one more.
Yeah, he's just gonna. Oh! There's another big crash. Scatini. We got Matthew Gracie involved.
And I'm Hove, I believe.
Brewer involved. Cardi involved. Several cars involved in that incident. And that's got the right front's damaged on that car for Imhoff. And so that's a tow for them as well.
Let's
so
take a look at the replay.
Several cars with this. Let's get the replay. Oh. Okay, that's weird. So we had a car spin on the inside, a car spin on the outside, a car spin in the middle. And then that car got collected by 2 other cars. So, very rocky little sequence of corners there for several drivers. Back to the front, and we got Pagodo out front. Half-second gap back to Bartolota in P2. About a 1-second gap back from Bartolota as a Sandstrom, who started a little bit lower down the grid. He's usually up near the sharp end. I mean, as in P1 or P2. So he's making his way up. I'm sure he's going to try and make a charge up to the front of the field.
Yes, but he would also have to be careful with Fessy because, like we've seen in the previous races, Fessy is very good at making the passes and can be aggressive. So, okay, right now Fessy is 2 spots down, but I mean he is hanging on close to the Sandstrom.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have to watch out for that battle continue. Bergerson also running in P5. He's right on the tail of Fessy. So yeah, if you've got a aggressive driver behind, you have to almost kind of drive with your in the mirror. Well, is splitting time looking forward, but nice lines out of turn 1. Everybody gets that good run down this long straightaway as we head down into what's turn 3. Since there's kind of a kink in the middle of this right there, even though they're flat all the way through.
Oh, and a big block by Fessy. But Bergerson is making it work. Okay, it's on side by side here.
Yeah, absolutely. Side by side down into turn 5. Bergerson with, and then with the inside, and then that was a nice move. It's a kind of inside, an inside out type move. Did not pay off. Fessy was able to hold on to that spot.
Yeah, Fessy is now being really defensive, and you can see Sandstrom is actually being able to cap them now. It's 8/10 of a second difference, and they are both losing a lot of time.
They absolutely are. And, once you get side-by-side racing, every cars in front kind of leave a little bit, get a little closer, and it changes the battle zone track as we see them they're still looking to go side by side.
Oh, lose for Fessy.
Big spin by Fessy, or big slide by Fessy, I should say. Oh, and now he's lost it. There it goes. I don't think there was contact between him and Bergerson. It looked close. I don't think there was contact there. As Fessy was able to get the car right and get turned back around, he's going to have to really watch his tires at this point because they are super hot. So everything he's doing from here, as we see another car, that's Victor Barris, the 269 in the wall, into the guardrail. Obviously, lots of front end damage on that car. Nose bent, wings all torn up. That'll be probably a pit stop for him and have to do a quick repair to get back on track. And he's going to have lots of spots to make up. He was running up in 6th or 7th place before that. As we see Fessy, looks like, is that still Fessy? No, that's much further up the track. I'm sorry, that's a different car. Some Barry's being kind of overhauled there. Battle with Leon, Barry, and Tumulkins.
There's the Tumulkas and Glamsetter, actually.
Oh, Glamsetter, I'm sorry. All right. There we go, the 18 car, Christian Glamsetter. Looks like we've had some, I think this is an open setup event, so I think we've had some guys that tried to go with the really low downforce set to try and make that car as fast on the straightaways as they can make it. And that might have been one of the reasons Fessy had that spin turn in the final corner, which is, you can work that final corner, and I don't think you can take it flat in the F3 car, but it's going to be very close. You can get really good runs out of the corners with this car. But you have to be careful because, like I said, if you get those rear tires hot, it takes a few seconds of clean driving to get them back into the proper temperatures. Otherwise, you're just basically sliding around.
Yeah, and I think what really actually happened there with Fessy is that on the penultimate corner he got loose, that then overheated the rear tires, and then he basically still had to push hard on the final corner to keep the defense up, and it was just too much, and basically overcooked the tires at that point.
Yeah, I think you may be right.
As we see Ridgeway making a pass.
Yep, still seeing this battle here in the midfield section. We got Hayway, Ridgeway, Leon. So lots of names that rhyme through there. So very, it's very tight racing. Still nose to tail for the most part. Oh, we see somebody taking a look to see if they can make a move on the outside, but that was cut off very quickly.
Now we see moves.
No, there's really no easy moves, especially when you're on that corner coming out of that section with gravel. That will not help your traction in this car at all, or any cars.
Glamsetter looking at it. A little bit of luck up from Tumulkas, but that didn't help Clumster this time around. But he is still in the draft and confident on the inside, as well as we on the up ahead we have some overtakes as well happening.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're seeing overtakes and lock-ups, that's not going to help your situation at all. As we're still focused on Glamsetter here, as he was trying to make a run down and the inside, but no go at this point. As we see some side-by-side here in turn 5, that's Leon and Ridgeway, I believe. Oh, the contact. Looked like wheel contact.
Oh, we had big contact. That's Clumster and Tumulkas. And Reader as well.
Oh, and there's a lot of cars that got collected into that.
Yeah, so that's 3 cars in total.
Yeah.
Let's
See
see if we can get the replay up.
Tumulkas, yeah, Doyle. I'll talk while Mooley's getting the replay set. As you can see here, they're making this run. It looks to the inside there. Oh, and just wheel to wheel and sets the car around. And so now they're at the back of the grid. It looked like there might have been other cars involved in that, or at least that maybe lost positions because they had to check up on the wrong line or something like that. As we see Amos here in 32nd. He's in a tight battle. He's in the along with the gritters, side by side, coming down this long straightaway, looking for that inside line going into turn 3. Makes the move. That was a nice pass. Clean pass. Gave him plenty of room to make that move. We see Millen behind. Maybe saying, hey, I might want a little some of that. Not quite up to him yet. Reed Dennis behind him. Once again, still just kind of nose to tail in this little draft train.
Yeah, exactly. And all of these cars they're basically where they usually are, so it's not like anyone is out of position, maybe except the Ridders, who is kind of recovering 25 positions down. Someone is going constantly off the track, but I think that is what we will just see here.
Yeah, I think so. I was looking at that and seeing the red show up on the timing board, on the timing tower, and nobody was really moving, so it looks like they were just taking the off tracks, probably in that last corner. It's very easy to take an off track there, especially at the only corner exit. You want to try and get as much run as you can, but then you end up basically just going over the track limit slightly. If you go over too much, obviously it's a slowdown, which puts you in a bad spot for all the cars behind, because when you're in draft trains like this, you may lose several positions with that half to 1 second slowdown. We see Will McIntyre Jones running in P6, having a good race with Kinsey Newhoff behind. As we're working lap 9, 35 lap race. Wow. Lots of slip angle on that car in front for McIntyre Jones as he's making those corners.
Yeah, you can also see how far wide they are going, and that is why it's triggering the off-track warning for us.
Yes, for sure. Wow, what a good line through that corner. That's just fun to watch. I've driven this track quite a bit. I don't know that I've ever driven F3 car here. I've driven F3 here. I have to give this one a go.
Yeah, I haven't driven it either, because it's kind of like one of the newer tracks, so I haven't just gone around it. But yeah, should be, I think, fun, especially with these cars, because it's made for really... Yeah. Oh, we have issue. Do we have issue with Bartolota?
We got a car off. Bartolota running in P2 was off the gravel.
Yeah, that might have been actually...
Turn 5.
Yeah, that might have been a real off-track. Let's see what happened here.
Yeah, just carried, as Austin would say, just too much mustard into that corner. Just carried it wide, was able to catch it from spinning in the gravel, and continues on. But the gap is now 2 seconds up to Pagodo, who has kind of stretched that gap now that Bartolotta's had this, had that slow corner, and has brought Sandstrom in to within 1.4 seconds of that P2 position.
Yeah, right now it seems like our basically top 5 has more or less stabilized and the gaps are rather wide, but then right here for the P6 we have a good battle pack between Newhoff, McIntyre Jones, Soros and Fessy, as well as few lap cars throwing in the mix.
Those lap cars,
and behind them 3 wide.
It was a spin and then contact. That's Gavin Petty. And I believe that was at Flint that was also in that contact. It was. Just wrong place, wrong time. Not really anything Flint could do there. Just try to stomp on the brakes and keep from hitting him. But doesn't look like the car is too worse for wear. Gavin Petty obviously got the worst end of that deal with the contact. And of course with the hot tires now. So he'll have to be conscious of that. And that brings... as they're in there fighting with Romanelli in P12. And Talsma behind in P15. Starting to close that gap up ever so slightly.
Yeah, Talsma's last lap was about half a second faster than Petty, so he's definitely catching up, but actually, yeah, he was rather quick compared to everyone else ahead of him.
Yeah, that should have been a much quicker lap. Yeah, that was, after Petty's spin, that was a, almost 3 second, gain. So now he's in this fight for, to get further inside the top 15. Because we're still seeing two wide battles going into turn. That's worked out for the most part, but then there's obviously had some that it didn't work out so well for. That's Pedro Suarez and Simon Fessy, who's back up into P9, right in front of Aberdeen, who's rounding out our top 10. So Fessy, obviously, he's got some good pace, and as you mentioned earlier, is pretty aggressive on the track. So these guys that are in front will have to be very conscious of that fact as he's trying to make his way back up into the top 5.
Yeah, but Fessy is really not making things easy for himself because now he's having to climb up again.
As you see, he was just centering the track there by Suarez. Too wide into that penultimate corner. Still side by side as we see Suarez go really wide.
Aberdeen
puts Fessy in danger from Aberdeen from behind, who has now got the inside line going into turn 1. Suarez doing a lot of work there defending, as you see Aberdeen with the preferred line through there, and Fessy having to go wide. So he's had to give up that position temporarily. These guys are not giving up their spots at all.
No, and I think like for Fessy, it was maybe not the best move to go for the overtaking the last corner because then he wasn't close enough here, and there was some action behind them as well.
Yeah. I was watching the exit. Suarez had the car basically sideways, trying to gather it up. It was coming out of turn 3, as we see the action behind with Romanelli and Maruk just outside the top 10. They're obviously watching this battle in front with Ernest, waiting to capitalize on any mistakes these drivers are going to make. So they obviously want those top 10 points as well. Maruk for driving for Digital Apex.
Yeah, right now the field is starting to spread out a little bit, but we do have some battle packs. The leaders are not quite there yet to catch up with the back markers, so... No, but I think... Yeah, it's like half a straight, so I think they will still catch up before the end of the race.
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll start seeing some heavier lap traffic as we get a little further in. We're not quite halfway into the race yet. As we're looking at Fessy in P9, he is still just looks like he's got back by Aberdeen, but that battle Aberdeen's not so fast. I don't think I'm quite ready to get that spot up.
Yeah, so Fesi made the move into turn 1, but then Aberdeen was able to get a good run. Although Fesi was able to defend, but again, it's like, do you make a pass in the corner when you know that the next straight is coming up, which is much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, you have to kind of play a little strategy on there. If you make that move into turn 1,
Baruch on the outside.
As we see the outside. Oh, that was tight when Maruth and Romanelli still fighting for that 11th position. Yeah, you have to make that run into turn 1. You have to make that stick, because otherwise that car behind is going to get a nice draft down that long straight.
Oh, we have something happening.
Is we have a spin?
What? There's multiple cars on the turn 1.
Yep. Cardi.
Oh, they are spinning all the way.
Gracie,
so we have Cardi, Potapenko, Majorca, so let's actually see what happened here.
Yeah, let's check that out.
I think it might have started with the Majorca and Sotomar.
So we got Majorca.
Oh, I think I heard something already spinning. I think there is already spinning car. No?
Yeah. Nope. That was just basically just got punted, and we get cars behind spinning.
Oh, that's multiple cars in danger spot.
Yeah, that was, that was if you're gonna loop the car like that, you need to be moving and out of that corner, because he basically was sitting right in the racing line. There's no place for the next car to go. As I saw also Merchant in the pits as well. Not sure if he got involved in that contact in that incident or not, but we've got another several cars that are in the pits now that are we're waiting on their tows to complete so they can take their fast repair if they still got it and get back on track. Try and maybe pick up a couple spots, because I think there's still more positions to be gained during this race. I still think we'll see a few more incidents as we're moving forward, because we do have the front group has kind of stretched out between 1st to 7th, so they're all kind of running their own pace at this point. But even when you get back to P8, all the way back to about 7th to P17, they're still basically hanging on to that draft line in little packs of 2s and 3s. As we see Fessy now, he's lining up, trying to get this run down this long straightaway. Still wants to keep moving forward after running up in the top 3 at the beginning of the race.
Yeah,
catching that inside curve.
Yeah, just a little bit too far back this time. Oh, we have more incidents here. Let's see, that is from Lucas, and we also have something happening a little bit ahead with Romanelli.
Yeah, Romanelli was he the one back around 11th position?
Yeah, he was a little bit further ahead. So was this a pass attempt, or that's car 19 behind him? That would be Maru. Yeah.
Oh, just too hot on the gas. Maybe caught the curb side, sent the car around, and Luke was able to get that position. As we're back on board with Suarez, still defending from Fessy, running in P8. Fessy's he's decided he's going to be a little more patient this time. He's not looking to make that move down into turn 1. He wants to get a good run out of this corner, and so he can make this move down in turn 3. And he does have a good run this time, right up on the rear fin, rear wing of the car, looking to the inside. Look to be about even. Suarez is pretty smart, just kind of backed out of that. He didn't want to fight that battle right. So Fessy takes over P8. Maybe Suarez is looking to take this on this shorter, but still you can still get a good run down this straightaway. I think Fessy just may have kind of moved to kind of block the inside and say, no, not this time. Aberdeen still kind of hanging behind those two cars. As we get back to the front, we've got Pagoda, who has pulled out a nice 4-second gap over Bartolota in P2. Sandstrom just for a little bit behind them at 1.9 seconds. As we see Pagoda coming up to lap traffic.
Yes, I was taking a look at the track map and just keeping an eye on it. It seemed like he basically came into this battle for 43rd and 44th and basically split it up right now. But it seems like guys are kind of giving space.
We see a car off from behind, car off on the inside of the track. Looked like he was going to, whoever that was catch it. I couldn't see it.
Yeah, that was Mayorga.
Don't think I saw him. It looked like from his angle, I don't think he was going to hit the wall, but obviously it's a little still off the pace a little bit. So not sure if he's still got that. Yeah, I think he's got some wing damage on the front of the car as I'm sitting here looking at it.
Yeah, it's not going straight.
Yeah, he's not full power. Doesn't appear to be. Cars go by. He may just be turning laps, but I think he's not in a real spot because he's really basically sitting right in front of P11, and so he's got a whole train of very fast cars behind him who are gonna want to get by.
Exactly, that's the difficulty here. If you're not going at the full race pace, then you are gonna get swamped by this faster cars going behind. And yeah, if the car is not in good condition, maybe it would be a good idea to put in for the repairs if he still has the fast repair. Then that but it seems like he's going to carry on.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good pace so far. He looks like he's been able to pick up the pace a bit, but so now he's just kind of letting off and letting so he's at least being very sportsmanlike. Ooh, as he just jumps a curb in turn one, that will damage your floor if nothing else does. So he's at least yielding to the blue flag, and then these cars race and trying to stay out of their way. But once again, it's going to end up, hopefully you win, but you end up getting a spot where you just can't move, and that's where you end up getting run over from somebody who's much faster.
Exactly, and here we see pass for Ryan Berry. Oh, gets loose, and that might give Ridgeway a chance to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Ridgeway's definitely looking. I think Berry's taking the inside line, trying to be defensive. As he got that good run down the front straight, down the straight between 1 and 3, was able to hold on to that spot. Ridgeway just going to be behind and just work the rear of the car and see if he can find a way around him somewhere later down the road. Is lap 20 of 35.
I think he just maybe need to try again on the second corner, see if he can get there. But yeah, coming back to the lapped car etiquette, I think it's usually best. Like, it doesn't matter if you are generous or very accommodating. I think the best thing is just to be predictable, and in that case, like, I think I find it easier when the lapped cars drive at their normal pace and just gives room on the entries or wherever it's like normal overtaking spots, rather than slowing down suddenly. As we have Van Veen making a pass on Putniks, but Putniks coming back as Van Veen runs a little bit wide.
Yeah, it was a good move. It was a good attempt at a pass there. And we see Putniks with Van Veen looking to the side to see if he can maybe outbrake, and that did not work. So he's going to get the draft down in 5 again. It's a good battle here between Putniks, Van Veen, and Gourmet. This is, as we see, Putniks with a very defensive line. Oh, and just basically chops his nose off. Said, I'll keep it on the inside, but when I get through this corner, I'm just kind of gives a chance for Goyette to get by.
Yeah, that was a good move on the outside. He basically took advantage of the battle that happened between Putniks and Van Veen, where Van Veen kind of got put off the track really, or off the line, and then just was able to. And Van Veen is trying to come back, but again, on the second to last corner, I don't know if it's really the best way to do it, because now he is able to actually come back.
He got a much better run out of that corner than Goyette looked like he might have caught too much of the outside, maybe in the grab a little bit there, and that allowed Van Veen to take the inside line and work back in front.
Yeah, but look, it's now a four-way battle.
It now is. That's right. That's what we said. Is now you've got two more cars in there. As we see two wide into turn 3 here. Oh, that was close. No contact though between Goyette and Lucas, I believe.
Yeah, but now it's a 5-way battle.
And there's still a few more cars back there. I see 2 or 3 background. The more these guys keep battling, the more cars are going to be involved. And as we still see 2 wide in this pack. See Barris and P29. Got Glampster and Goyette in front. Obviously, Barris and Glampster were both further up in the field. Have had incidents already. We see Glampster on the outside there. That's going to be a tight squeeze. But hey, kudos to Barris for getting the room to race there. He could have made that a lot worse than it was, but he didn't. He raced it clean.
Yeah, right. And I mean, Barris and Glamster, they're both very fast drivers, so they are putting pressure on Goyette and Lucas ahead of them. So I think this will be very close. And I mean, last time we saw how Goyette basically got boxed in with 3 cars all around him. And I think it's gonna be a repeat of that again.
Yeah, I think you may be right. We're still riding on board with Barris. Got Glamsetter front, Goyette, Lucas, and Van Veen. Who managed to pull out a little bit of a gap there, as we see Glamsetter getting by, and holding it just ever so slightly, getting by Goyette in turn 3. So now be Barris lining up to see if he can get his run. Get to the inside. Kind of held him up a bit. Didn't quite get the run out of the corner that he wanted. So he's going to reset.
Goyette going a little bit wide there.
Oh, yeah. And again, left the door open for Barris to come into the inside. Make that move. That was a great move. So now he's moved up that spot, up to P28. Goyette P29. Ortlovs in P30, who is now lining up to make that pass also. And you got Reed Dennis back there as well. Then there's a little bit of a gap. So we'll see how well Goyette can fare against the group of the pair of Ortlovs and Dennis, as we see Glamsetter and Barris moving forward. Now they'll set their sights on Lucas and Van Veen.
Okay, let's take a look. Okay, here is one more pass going 10 win. We need to take a look at the update on the top 10.
Side by side going down to turn 3. Breaking opens a lot of air for those cars behind. Just get a little bit closer, a little bit closer. As we see some side by side battling in the back there between Glamsetter and Goyette. Bears run the defensive line down into turn 5. I mean, so far these guys have driven a great race. As at least it's been clean. Nobody's really making any. I mean, they're making small, minor mistakes, but they're not putting other cars in danger. They're swapping spots back and forth. It's been really clean and fun racing to watch. We're focused on Goyette. Ortlov's right behind. He's looking to see if he can get this run going down the start-finish straight. He'll be wanting a good exit out of the last corner here. Doesn't look like he got a great run. Looks like Goyette's going to be able to hold off any charge from the back for the time being. We'll be resetting here, try and get the run on turn 1 to get down to turn 3.
I think this might be one of those battles that basically will carry on for the next 10 laps.
It is very possible. It is very possible, as we see Barris getting by Van Veen up on the timing tower. So he's now setting his sights up forward on Lucas, as we now check in with Jester Sandstrom. 2.5 second gap ahead of Bartoloff. So he's managed to stretch that gap out ever so slightly. And the gap from Bartolotto to Pagodo is now 6.1. So Pagodo has basically just checked out. As we see, Bergeson has now made his way up to P4 with Jimenez and Newhoff and Fessy in 5 through 7. Suarez in P8, Will McIntyre Jones P9, Aberdeen in P10.
Yeah, just I think a lap or two ago we had some battles here with Fessy. Believe that was he was able to make the pass on Suarez. And now Soras is in battle with McIntyre Jones.
Indeed, yeah. I think Fessy has just been slowly working his way back up. Obviously, he had a really good quality. I think he qualified P2. So obviously, he's got really good pace in the car. So he's just kind of working his way forward. He's now within a half second of Newhoff in P6. And we see McIntyre Jones in P9 trying to close up that gap on Suarez.
And Fessy has as I was about to say, he caught up to Newhoff and then went wide on the final corner on exit of penultimate corner actually.
Yeah, just loose coming out of that penultimate corner, almost sideways. And so as we see Kessler off the track.
That's a little bit unusual place to have an off track, so it might have been a
strange place.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the replay.
Yeah, let's see if he had a little help or if it was just a spin. Wow, just lost the rear coming through there. I don't know if maybe the curb on the inside maybe upset the car, helped him lose a bit of traction. But that is like as you said, Samuli, that's a bit of a strange place to wind up in one of these races.
Yeah, I mean it looked like basically he clipped the curb with the front left, and that kind of shifted the weight around. And it seems like we are also seeing these cars suffering with the rear traction.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that is now that we're at the halfway point, we're at lap 27. At least the leader's working lap 27. These tires are going to just be wearing down. We've seen the second half of these races all season where you start losing that rear grip. The later in the race it goes, the harder it is to maintain that rear grip. Even though the track temp is not horrible, 28C. We've seen obviously if you've driven, like I said, if you've driven Red Bull Ring before, there has been much hotter races. So 28's very comfortable for these cars. So I don't think that's as much of a factor. It's just the fact that these guys are really pushing, trying to get the most out of each lap, and degrading their tires quite a bit during the course of the race.
But it is also longer than your usual official race, so...
Yes, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a longer race. I would assume this is probably a 25 lap race in the official series.
Right now we are definitely starting to see some movement, so... Now we got a good battle again between Fessy and Newhoff. Fessy was able to make the move pass, but now also Soros and McIntyre Jones are joining in, and we also have something happening behind. There's issue with Putnix, and I believe that might have been with Glamsetter. But at the same time we also have with Kessler coming back, going side by side with Van Veen, and Coyette is also there, so it's the whole orchestra is there.
Yeah. See, Witters I think had an off track there, so yeah, it's this battle continues on here. These guys just keep swapping positions back and forth. As you said, I think maybe one of the cars got a little bit of a worse wear. As we see Putnix has dropped. I think he was...
he is currently dropping. He has damage on the right side.
Yeah, and he's smartly just staying off the racing line, letting these guys get through. Probably come into the pits, take his fast repair.
Oh, Lucas.
Oh, no. There's Lucas. P20 was running on the P20 mark and banged it off the inside barrier there, coming up to the start-finish line. All the way down to P32 now.
But so far the car looks fine. He was kind of jiggling it on the straight to see if it looks okay. But I think there might be some damage. Yeah, it's on the right side.
He's towing it. So smartly just getting off the track, towing it around, and decided he was not going to be able to make that lap at anywhere close to the proper pace that would just not be in everybody's way. So wisely decides to take the tow. We see the inside defensive position there by Van Veen over Kessler. I think has moved down. Let's see. Maybe, yeah, I think all these guys are still running. But I think Van Veen was kind of at the front of this field the last time we checked, and now he's kind of in the back of the pack.
Yeah, and I think right now let's take a look at the map, and they are starting to kind of mix up with the lapped cars, and we got the word that Newhoff had an incident with the lapped car, which is why Fessy was able to make the pass.
I see. So there's your answer on that. As we were looking at here at joining in P11, he's got Gavin Petty looking down to the inside. Oh, I'm sorry, to the outside. Ooh, a little lock up there. He was going to try and make that outside move stick, and just looked like he just kind of locked the brakes a little bit. Had to reset. So he's back behind Maroon again. P11, just outside the top 10. We get a look now at Kizzy Neuhoff, who is now been overtaken by Suarez.
And also under attack by from McIntyre Jones.
Interesting move there. McIntyre Jones just pulling.
I think what he's doing is that he didn't want to catch up on the straight.
Yeah, I think that's what I was about to say. It was he didn't want to draft up into turn one and bound up a little further back so he could get a better run out of turn one for this straight, which is a pretty sound strategy. Didn't work out for him as well as he probably wanted. He waited too long to get back in that toe, because you do want to at least be able to say I want to be within second up front so I can get the maximum slipstream down that straightaway between 1 and 3.
And right now they are also coming up 2 lap cars, Arroyo and Potapenko, so that's gonna be another challenge that they will have to deal with, especially when fighting in such a close group. So I think there will be some give and take that have to be given here.
Yes, let's hope that let's hope that all just kind of and let these guys battle for some good finishes up in the front of the field. As we're still focused in on Fessy, who's back into P6, and he is trying to work his way up to P5 to get into a battle with Inez.
Yeah, Jimenez, that's 3.7 seconds, and Fessy is not that much faster really, so it's gonna be a tough call because we are rapidly running out of the laps, so I think it might require some mistake or incident from Jimenez to really allow Fessy to catch up. And Fessy still needs to tackle with this kind of lap traffic as well, so we will see. Oh, we have issues here. These cars, it seems like they are kind of merged together. And is that that's Nick Carty?
Nick Carty. So I think Nick Carty was a lap down.
Yep.
He had been an earlier incident. And so now Petty's got caught up in another. I'm sorry, got caught up in the incident. Carty.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Take a look. Yep.
So here's Carty. Locks the rears on entry. Rejoins.
Yeah,
oh, and then.
Yeah. You know, it's every instinct you have is, all right, I've made the corner, now floor it, or at least, get back on the throttle as quickly as I can. and take as much
Oh.
of that run off as we see Fessy with a spin on the front straight. That's taking him all the way down to P13. So all that work for naught. So he's lost 7 positions.
Yep, that is just a big battle that he was in. Outside and runs way too far.
Outside, yeah. Yep, just too far outside, too much mustard. And so now he's reset. Little flick of the car, get it turned back to the right direction. But tough day for Fessy, you know, obviously if you had told him at the end of the race he was going to be finishing somewhere between 10 and 15, he would have said, "Oh man, I just qualified P2." But you know, it's the frustrations of racing. Sometimes you just end up, you know, it just takes one little mistake and it just ruins your day.
Absolutely, for Fessy it's been pretty much one step forward, 2 steps back, because every time he's been able to kind of gain back those positions, he's then lost more than that and then had to blow back, and then again something happens.
Yep, absolutely. As we're looking now, as we're 33 of 35, so we're coming up on 2 laps to go when the leader comes back around. As we see Fessy will go up to Will McIntyre-Jones, who's running P8, and he is being stalked by Lee Aberdeen, who is now in P9 with Maruk in P10. And that gap is about 0.2 of a second and closing rapidly. It gets that toe down the straightaway, looking to move to the inside, and is able to hold even. So they're going to battle down into turn 5. As we see 2 cars in front of them, who are also side by side. Aberdeen getting the preferred line. Looks like he gave McIntyre-Jones enough room on the edge of the corner. Takes that spot up to P8. Suarez in P7. Drops McIntyre-Jones up to P9 with Maruk in P10.
And I believe, yeah, that was Newhoff and Suarez in front of them, but also going side by side.
Yeah, it was probably Suarez and Newhoff.
Yeah, that was actually Newhoff kind of in the position right there.
So I don't think this... Ooh, oh, nope, then he's off. He's into the barrier on the outside. He actually got loose, caught the car, and kind of overcorrected, and it just turned him out into the barrier. And so now he's going to get swallowed up. Not sure how much damage the car's got, but my guess is probably enough that he's probably going to lose 2 or 3 more spots before this race is over. We have under 2 laps left to go.
He's able to just make it. It seems like the car is fine. I don't see any damage on the front wing.
I mean, he looked like he basically caught it with the 2 left side tires. So maybe it didn't do any wheel damage. They caught it flush. And maybe didn't do any damage to the car. So he seems like he looks like he's moving okay. So as we see a battle with
that is still Newhoff and Aberdeen.
Yeah, McIntyre-Jones. I was kind of watching the timing and score of the battle behind with Maruk and Flint, who are in a battle for P10. Just behind this group.
Okay, that is Pakoto taking the white flag, so we have 1 more to go.
All right,
I think right now on top, yeah, top 5 is more or less locked in right now, but I think this is the biggest battle that we have going on here in the top 10.
I think you're absolutely right. There's a gap between Suarez and Newhoff, so we've got Newhoff, Aberdeen, McIntyre-Jones. It's a battle for P7 through 9.
And for them it looks like there's currently no lapped cars within very close distance, so they should be good to go. As Aberdeen tries to get the cut back there, but wasn't quite able to, and that might allow McIntyre-Jones to actually go for a move here, coming up. And they are going 3 wide.
3 wide into turn 5. Oh, and that was Newhoff managing to stay in front of Aberdeen and Mac Jones, as Flint and Maruk are still swapping positions behind them.
But we will have to get back to Pagoto as he's coming across the line to take the win.
And yeah, Gianfranco Pagoto, your race winner, with Bartolotto, Max Bartolotto in second place. Bartolotto, Sandstrom will be coming up in P3. Bergerson, Jimenez in P4 and 5 to run up the top 5. And then we've got Suarez, and then the battle that we're watching here between Newhoff, Aberdeen, and McIntyre Jones as they come down the front straight. That is going to be your finishing result. 7, 8, 9. Maruk gets back around to grab that 10th place, the last spot in the top 10. Flint, Fessy, Hay, Talsma, Evan Wade, top 15. So you see Robert Ridgway crossing the line. See him. We're looking at Christian Glamsetter as he's got a battle here with Richard Van Veen.
Yes, we still have plenty of battles going on, so we have this one. It seems like Glamsetter is gonna take one, but behind them there's a big group coming through.
Here we go. Mills, Goyette, Ortlovs, Dennis, Putniks, Putikils. So many cars just kind of stacked up there. That's been a battle for almost the end. It was a great battle. So, you know, that was great to watch. We see the final cars coming in, some of the lap down cars coming in, crossing the finish line. Barry in 30th, Tumulkans in 31st, Morrow, Bremy, Arroyo.
Yes, I believe that is all the cars have now crossed through the finish line, so yeah, certainly. I think that was kind of one of those races that it was kind of difficult to decide, okay, what are we actually gonna take a look at, because it was battles all over the place. And I mean, yeah, we had battles at the top, but also within like in the second half of the grid we still have some great battles there. Plenty of drama, incidents, but it was overall, I would say, clean good racing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was. We did have a few multi-car incidents, but you know, for a 35-lap race, they were few and far between. So it was a fantastic result, fantastic race. Like you said, some really battles all over the track. People just, you know, hey, I want P21. I don't want P23. So yeah, it was a fantastic end to the race. Some good battles in the front, good battles in the midfield. So I think we will look at our race results. Gianfranco Pagoto with the win. Max Bartolotta, P2. Sandstrom, Bergerson, Jimenez, your top 5. Pedro Suarez in 6th. Newhoff in 7th. Aberdeen, McIntyre Jones, Lucas Maruk round out your top 10. Andy Flint, Simon Fessy, Alistair Hay, Talsma, Way, Ridgway, Waller, Ritters in 18th. Clark Williams, Victor Barris round out your top 20. Christian Glamsetter, Richard Van Veen, Kessler, Milne, Goyette, Ortlovs, Dennis, and Putniks. Tumulkans, Morrow, Bremy, Arroyo, Potapinko, Gracie, Jose Arroyo, Gavin Petty in 38th. Edward Amos in 39th, Cardi, Doyle, Gephardt, Leo Leung, Mayorga, who obviously an incident, Scatini, Philip Lucas, Double Z, Zoltan Zomotor, Matt Brewer, Alessandro Romanelli, Dan Merchant in 50th, Case Isaac, Giovanni Salito, Julio Palacio, Dayton Imhoff, Gillis Gini, Kuji Ito, Francisco Furioni. Those last 3 did not start the race. And that is your full 57 car rundown.
Thankfully, there's no hurry to read through the results, unlike during the gridding.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do better at the gridding for the next time.
I mean, hopefully...
So that's it.
Yeah, hopefully next time Austin will be back, and yeah, get well soon.
Yeah, Austin, absolutely get well soon. We missed having you here. Nobody can run down a 57 car grid like you can. So for Samuli Kumo, thank you very much, Samuli, for filling in and also running the visuals for us. I am Charles Boshell. This has been IGB Fun F3 presented by SRP, and we will see you next week.